Welcome back, Carter. Won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about
Starcrash. Yeah, I don't know music at all. Music was really good, I will say that.
It was.
It all goes downhill from there.
No, man, it's awesome. It was a Star Wars...
complete total ripoff. Yay!
No, man, a reimagining.
A reimagining, yeah.
An homage.
This is our first episode in our May the Farce Be With You month.
Yes, where we are going to cover some Star Wars ripoffs and some
parodies and things.
Satires and parodies and things. Since Star Wars was released, how many years ago this month?
It would be 45 years ago.
45 years ago.
Yeah, 45 years
That's
ago.
so crazy.
Whew, holy moly.
Man, Star Wars needs to get a colonoscopy.
Should have gotten it 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's time. Goodness.
All right, well, take yourself back to 1979.
Yeah.
February 7th, Pluto moves inside Neptune's orbit for the first time since either was known to science.
Nice. You mean Pluto the dog? Is this like a Disney porn?
They discovered him. He was just out floating around in space.
He's moving inside Neptune. Is that another dog?
Yeah.
Red Rocket.
You could say that Pluto ripped off the 8th planet status.
Okay, wait. Now, did it go back to being a planet? Pluto?
No, they haven't officially done that. But at this time, it was technically a planet.
Well, yes. Yeah. Yes. But I thought, because it was declassified as a planet, then I thought it was going to be reclassified as a planet.
There are some people, some scientists, that want it to be reclassified as a planet, but NASA has not done that yet.
What you doing, NASA?
Whoever
NASA?
it is. Well, they have a voice in it, but like there's some board or something.
It's so crazy that a board of humans in one country gets to decide if a celestial body is a planet or not.
Well, the problem was that after they found Pluto, and they called it a planet because it was so far out there, if they reclassify as a planet now, the size is small enough that there are moons of like Jupiter that are bigger than Pluto.
Right.
So they would be like, well, there's planets too? You know, it becomes this whole,
Do you hear that sound? That sound is everyone falling asleep right now.
All right, well, whatever.
It's my fault, baby. Yeah. It's my fault. I just thought that it was coming back. I thought Pluto was back in fashion.
As far as I know, no. Okay. It's still just a.
All right, well, then F you, Pluto.
It actually is. Yeah.
Has been.
February 26th, a total solar eclipse occurs over the northwestern United States, not occurring again for 38 years.
I remember that eclipse. It was a big deal.
It was.
I'm not going to make the joke about the total eclipse of the heart.
Oh, okay.
I already did that.
It was, you actually can see a partial solar eclipse over the majority of the United States. So I was about 10 months old, so I don't remember this.
Yeah, you were an eclipse baby.
Yeah.
Which explains quite a bit.
It was actually me. My mom was holding me up, and I blocked it.
Yeah, well, you're a big baby.
March 4th, the U.S. Voyager 1 space probe photos reveal Jupiter's rings.
And then, in the future, when the Enterprise finds it, it says, I am Voyager. I am Voyager. And they're like, what the hell? It's going to destroy the universe. Wow. And it was Voyager all along, Adam. It was Voyager.
It was just out there.
And Spock's like, illogical, Voyager. Stop trying to be a jerk. And then it's like, okay, now that I found my missing letters, everything is happy again.
Yay.
Right. That's how I remember Star Trek, the motion picture. I don't know if that's actually the...
I've not seen that.
No, it was about Voyager, though.
I don't remember. Yeah.
It was so boring. It was the most boring movie. I remember seeing that in the theater and just being bored to tears. I was like, how the hell is this Star Trek? I used to watch paint dry because my stepdad was a general contractor.
Yeah.
And it was much more exciting than Star Trek. I was like, hey, you got any paint drying to take this awful stink of Star Trek out of my eyeballs?
Do you hear that sound?
Yeah, okay.
March 7th, Starcrash premieres in Los Angeles.
Yes!
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. So this was around the time when Star Wars had the hugest impact on the film industry because everybody and their mom wanted to capture that success.
Those of you who weren't around don't understand how huge this was.
Yeah.
People lined up around the block
Yeah.
for hours.
And this was pre-internet. This was word of mouth. This was
This
just
is rotary
people.
telephone time, man. This is pre just about everything. Yeah, you had to go buy your tickets. These weren't just in line. They had their tickets, man. This was the box office line.
Yeah.
So you would wait in line. The show would be sold out. You'd wait another 2 hours. That show would be sold out. So by 6 hours, 7 hours later, maybe you'd get in. But people were like, "F it! I need to see this movie." It was a event.
Right. It was huge.
People were primed. People were primed for it because, like, Jaws and those, the really big movies before it really primed the audience for some giant event movie, and this just filled that. It was just so different than anything anybody had ever seen.
You had to see it. Like if you went to work and you were at the water cooler and you didn't see it, you would feel like schmuck.
Just from the opening spectacle of the ships, people were just blown away. To see it in the theater was just a magical experience. I remember seeing it. Unfortunately, the first time I saw it, I had some little jerk friend next to me who was like, okay, this is right now. Okay, this is where he's going to take out his light sword. This is where he takes out his light sword. He's going to cut him with his light sword. Oh, he's going to cut his arm off with a light sword. I'm like, shut up, moron. Just let me enjoy it's my birthday. Let me enjoy the movie. Good Lord.
The downside of having Star Wars and the massive amount of appeal was that there were so many ripoffs.
Or upside, if you are a fan.
I mean, yes, okay, technically, if you like sci-fi movies, you like space operas, sure. It was like a new movie every 2 weeks was coming out that was...
As a baby boy, it was perfect. Because you're too young. Sure. Look, I knew these movies were pretty stupid. But they had light swords and robots, and they had like Ray Harryhausen type of stuff. Like, because I loved the Sinbad movies,
Harryhausen
and the Argonauts movies.
Incredible. Absolutely,
man. Those skeleton battles and stuff were just like, I love that stuff. It creeped me out, man. And the monsters and the Kraken.
Clash of Titans. He did Clash of Titans.
Yeah,
too,
he
right?
did.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were fantastic. Ray Harryhausen was incredible, absolutely incredible.
And he had those weird robots in Starcrash, the weird, the spy versus spy robot, naked spy versus spy guys with their swords
stuck out like a sore thumb.
Swords.
Yeah. So there were a bunch of movies that came out that were ripped off Star Wars, like Message from Space in 1978.
Sonny Chiba.
Japanese, had Vic Morrow and Sonny Chiba in it. Laser Blast from 1978, which I would have gone and seen because it's a great title. They try to be a really gritty version of Star Wars, like a really darker version.
I don't remember that one. I'm sure if I saw some stills or something, I would.
I'm sure you can probably find it on YouTube. I'm sure it's not. Yeah. Star Odyssey, 1979.
I distinctly remember renting that from the local video store.
Nice. Well, it's Star Odyssey. I mean, why would you not?
I rented all of these.
Yeah, it was Italian, had light swords. It was great. The Humanoid in 1979, which totally ripped off the text crawl and had droids that looked just like R2-D2. And also literally ripped off the actual sound effects of R2-D2.
In a later span of time, in a universe not close to this one.
Exactly. Which the irony is that the Humanoid was actually, the original director got fired, and actually it was finished directed by Luigi Cozzi, who directed Starcrash.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah. Galaxina in 1980, which starred Dorothy Stratton, who you may remember as the Playboy Playmate of the Year, who was murdered literally a week after this movie came out.
There's a great movie by Peter Bogdanovich called Star 80.
Yes, Star 80.
Mariel Hemingway. And
The Man Who Saved the World in 1982, which is known as the Turkish Star Wars. And I have never seen, but watching the trailer, man, I really want to see this movie.
Nice.
It looks so awful. And then, of course, like TV, there was like Battlestar Galactica.
Which they released in the theater because of the popularity of Star Wars.
Yeah. And then, of course, 1978 was Starcrash. Although the creators of Starcrash claim that they'd come up with the ideas before Star Wars released, but...
Sure you did.
I mean, come on.
Sure you did.
Have you seen the movie?
Yeah. They had the goofiest sound design. Like the light swords were like
it was so not good. Not good. So, Starcrash, the origins of Starcrash start with one Italian director, Luigi Cozzi.
The Luigi Cozzi.
Yeah,
My name is Luigi.
He knew there was buzz around the release of Star Wars, so even before the movie came out, like in all the buzz we talked about, he wanted to create a space fantasy, as he called it. He had ideas, but he needed investors. Luigi Cozzi actually started making 8mm films as a child. He directed his own movies when he was a kid. His first feature, which he shot when he was 21 years old, was the extremely low-budget The Tunnel Under the World in 1969, which featured a vampire and a Martian.
Whoa. A vampire and a Martian? Not a vampire Martian, but both?
Both. Yeah.
Now that's a bang for your buck, baby.
You know he's going to go on to great things.
Luigi, guys, you got the formula down.
He knows. And I tried to find this movie. It's not available anywhere.
You know what the review was? Oh, that's a spicy meatball. This is going to be such a... Hey, if you're Italian, you may want to tune out for this one. There's going to be a lot of Mario-sounding stereotypes.
Yeah,
I apologize.
A lot of Italian.
But I can't stop.
Shortly after the release of his first movie, Cozzi would befriend director Dario Argento and work with him on several of his films.
Oh, man, Dario Argento is one of the masters of creepy, crazy horror.
Oh.
That guy, if you do yourself a favor, Suspiria.
Oh my God, so good.
His daughter, Asia Argento,
Yeah.
is an amazing actress. She's just like one of the rawest talents around. That family is just nuts with talent.
Oh yeah, Dario Argento is incredible. Any of his movies, go look at any of them. But Suspiria in particular is incredible.
Yep.
So after that, Luigi moved into television. He directed some TV episodes. He also wrote and directed 2 more feature films before the release of Star Wars in 1977. And shortly before the release of Star Wars in May 1977 at the Cannes Film Festival, Cozzi met Nat Wachsberger and his son Patrick, who were impressed with samples that Cozzi had created to try to sell his idea to get investors for this space fantasy he wanted to make.
Nice.
Nat and Patrick had just created a new company called Film Enterprises Production and needed content to release, so they were very eager to work with Luigi Cozzi. Nat Wachsberger was a producer who had just come off the film Killer Force in 1976, the first movie released by Film Enterprises Productions, starring Telly Savalas.
Yeah, baby. Telly, baby.
Peter Fonda.
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and O.J. Simpson.
The juice.
Yeah, he definitely was back then. Not Nat Wachsberger might sound familiar because he also produced The Day the Clown Cried in 1972, the Jerry Lewis Holocaust movie that has never seen the light of day.
Yeah, because if you don't know the story, Jerry Lewis plays a clown who entertains children as they're being marched into the gas chamber in Auschwitz. And it's a comedy.
It could have been a misstep.
I have never wanted to see a film more in my
Yes.
life than I want to
Yes.
see this film. I don't think anybody's seen it.
No,
It's been locked
no.
away in some crazy...
It's mythical.
Yeah, it's-
people say that. Oh, I saw it at his house, and like all this. It's not
BS
true.
you have.
Yeah.
Nobody's seen this movie. I so desperately want to see this movie.
It
I
will
know
be.
it makes me sound like a horrible person.
No. It's as a cinephile, you want to
It
see
is
the movie.
like the holy grail of just bad ideas, man.
Yeah.
Like who? And this was like a passion project for Jerry Lewis, and
Yes.
I get it, man.
Yes.
I get it. Like, I get because he's a comedian and he was Jewish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was probably. But Jesus Christ, just what I've heard about it, it's just holy mother of pearls.
Yeah. Not good. Not good. So Patrick, the son, has gone on to produce movies like The Hunger Games, and actually he just won an Oscar for producing Coda.
Nice. I really want to meet him now because he has the scoop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure he does. I'm sure
Everybody
he does.
asks him. They're like, I don't care about your Oscar, pal. What about the Day After Died?
I know you have a screener somewhere.
Where is it?
So to prepare, Luigi Cozzi read the novelization of Star Wars written by George Lucas that was published in November of 1976.
To prepare to rip off his movie?
Yes, this is why he claims he had these ideas beforehand. But no.
Not if you read the novelization.
Yeah.
I read the comic book novelization of Empire Strikes Back before it came out, and then I knew
Oh, you knew the
I
secret. You knew the
big
twist.
secret, and it was so stupid. I was so bummed.
You were mad?
I was bummed at myself.
Oh, for spoiling
blowing
it?
the bloopers,
Yeah. Gotta be careful with that stuff, man. It's...
And ever since that, I swear to God, man, ever since that day, and this isn't a joke, I have avoided spoilers. And I hate spoilers more than anything. I don't want to know anything about anything.
Same.
The people that need to mine out every last detail of something before it comes out, who stole your joy? Why do you even like movies? What's the point?
Yeah, why?
Detective Jerkface?
I'm actually at the point where I'm avoiding trailers now.
Yeah.
For the most part. Mm-hmm. I mean, because after the first one's usually okay, but then they'll release like 2 more, and they just reveal more and more stuff. And it's like...
beginning especially if you see the movie after you see the trailer, and you realize they basically just told the entire movie in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was better than the movie because it was only 2.5 minutes.
Cut out all the crap.
Yeah. You should have made it short, pal.
So Cozy wrote Kazi. Sorry, I'm going to call him Kazi. Kazi wrote
Luigi
Cozy. Yeah. He wrote a 70-page treatment for... That's actually probably the best way to say it.
Luigi Cozy.
So Cozy wrote a 70-page treatment for his space fantasy and presented it to Nat Wachsberger with the title Empire of the Stars.
Ooh, that would have been crazy, because then probably Empire Strikes Back wouldn't have been Empire Strikes Back.
I mean, possibly. I could have, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure George Lucas probably laughed and been like, whatever.
He would have just been like, oh, man, now I can't want to be associated with this ripoff of my movie. Why don't we call it Darth Vader's Dreary Day? Episode 6.
You're a fan of his, right?
I love him. He employed me for 19 years. He's like a father to me.
So Nat really liked the treatment, was super excited, but he had an idea for a better title.
Starcrash.
Luigi Cozy was incredibly confused by this, because no mention of any stars crashing or anything. It was just Nat Wachsberger being a producer going, this is better.
What is a title that sounds a lot like Star Wars but isn't exactly Star Wars? Star Battles? No, too much star. Okay, alphabet. Star Ant, Star Beers, Star Crash. Star Crash! Star Crash! Right there.
Star Beers. I want to see that movie.
Oh, yeah. I'll show it to you. I've lived it.
So he went to work writing the script, and they went to work casting the film.
Nice.
Their lead was Caroline Munro.
Now, wait. Did they cast out of Italy, or did they go to Los Angeles? Did they have like a Los Angeles casting?
They had a Los Angeles casting person.
Okay.
Yeah, for the major leads, they went to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah. Although Caroline Munro did not live in Los Angeles, she lived in London. But she was the only person that Luigi Cozy wanted to play Stellstar.
Was she British?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. She was from Windsor in the UK.
Berkshire, England.
She was British. She had a very slight accent. Very, very slight accent.
Well, you wouldn't know it from Starcrash because you know who didn't have an accent? It was Candy Clark.
That's true. So Caroline Munro, she started early on in her modeling career by winning a Face of the Year photo contest and started modeling for Vogue at the age of 17.
She has she's got mad brows, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like her eyebrows are like, she always looks slightly pissed. You know? And like if you look at her eyes, even when she smiles, it's like there's something going. It's just like those eyes can't.
Yeah. It's, yeah. She had a bit part in Casino Royale in 1967, and in 1969, one of her photo ads led to a screen test and a 1-year contract with Paramount, where she was cast as Richard Widmark's daughter in the British-American comedy western A Talent for Loving.
Yes, such a great movie. I have no idea.
I've never seen it. No idea. Just the idea, the fact that it was literally described as a British-American comedy western makes me not want to see the movie at all.
Now it does kind of make me want to see it. What is a British-American comedy western?
I don't know. Although the irony is that she did have a talent for loving because that's where she met her husband, Judd Hamilton. On A Talent for Loving.
Oh my God, you did it!
I did it. I did it.
That was amazing.
Thank you. So Monroe has the distinction of being the only actor ever signed to a long-term contract by Hammer Films. She acted in the Dracula AD 1972, which convinced her to go to acting full-time, stop modeling.
Well, okay, let's just say, it isn't the most prestigious thing in the world to be the only person to contact Hammer.
No.
But Hammer Films used to make these great horror adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, they would take all the royalty-free stuff and make great movies out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it would, Christopher Plummer was in a lot of them.
Yeah, Christopher Lee a lot.
And it was just, I mean, the Hammer films are some of the great B schlocky.
Yeah, they're not quite like Corman B level, but they're still pretty B level.
A little bit of class to them. There's like a little bit of like a, it's almost like watching a theater production of a horror film.
I think the way that they
overdramatic.
They go over the B, like a B plus levels, because they just cast a lot of British people.
Yes, but it's just like this.
It sounds much more.
We've got to get out of this house.
Yeah.
There's something in this house. Reginald.
It's Dracula.
You have to calm down, darling.
Yeah, exactly.
We just have to survive the night, and we will just be fine.
Although she did have this contract that lasted for a year, I believe it was a year-long contract, she did turn down a handful of Hammer movies because they required nudity, and she refused.
Yeah.
And good for her. A lot of people wouldn't and didn't, but she had been modeling long enough to know that, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 1970...
Or it's also not a bad thing either. It's your body. Do what you want.
Oh, no, totally. If you want to do it, go for it.
Just want to make sure people don't think you're a prig.
It was a couple of pretty big movies that she said no to, and which,
Hey, I get it.
It's your thing.
Some people are more comfortable doing that kind of thing than others, and, more power to you. If you want to show it. If you don't.
Your body, your choice.
Exactly.
Yeah. In 1977, Monroe turned down the opportunity to play villainous Ursa in Superman in favor of Bond girl Naomi in The Spy Who Loved Me.
Man, there was so much full frontal nudity in that Superman movie. It was really distracting.
The really odd thing is that, not odd, but, good for her. Like, she's getting offered some pretty big movies, after doing the modeling and being in Hammer movies and stuff.
She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah. Oh, of course, yes.
She could, she's got that weird intensity because of her Jack Nicholson eyebrows.
I would say she probably would have been a better Ursa than the woman who ended up playing her.
Which one was Ursa?
I don't remember. The three Kryptonians. She was the chick.
Oh, no, she was good. I thought she was really good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll have that.
I don't know. I guess we'll never know.
We'll have that argument when we do Superman. Is this Superman 2 or Superman?
The first Superman. It was.
Oh, because they're in the thing and then they come back for Superman 2. They're at the beginning of the trial.
If you see the original Donner cut, they actually are in it a lot more. Right. And Superman 1 and Superman 2 were technically in the same movie, but it was like a 4-hour-long movie, and they ended up cutting it up, and then, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But she was in a Bond movie, which is fantastic. I mean, it's a big deal. Starcrash was her first leading role. She was, as I said, she was writer-director Luigi Cozzi's first and only choice to play Star.
Luigi Cozzi.
I'm just going to have you say it every time. You sound it better than I do.
I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
Cozzi was a huge Ray Harryhausen fan, like Jim, and Monroe had just starred in The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, where Ray Harryhausen did the special effects.
I love those Sinbad movies, baby.
Yeah. He was obsessed. I'm sure he was probably obsessed with Caroline Monroe because she was in this movie, and he wanted Starcrash to be, as he called it,
Sinbad goes to space.
Yeah. So she was the first and only choice, and she did fine. She did fine in the movie.
Yeah, but we don't really know.
Yeah,
do we?
Which we'll get to that. Yeah,
we don't really know.
That's true. That is very true.
Her eyes and eyebrows didn't do a lot of acting, but underneath that did.
Yeah. That's very true. Her co-star and her Stella's mysterious sidekick Acton was played by Marjo Gortner. Who sounds like he should be from like Finland or Sweden. No, he was from like Pasadena.
Marjo. What the hell?
I don't know.
Marjo. You know what Marjo probably is? Because a lot of people. This was. I don't know if you've seen the newest Gerard Carmichael special, Nathaniel on HBO. I highly recommend it. It's one of the best stand-up specials I've seen. But possibly Marjo.
Yeah.
The father of his father was Martin.
Yeah.
And the father of his mother was Joseph. And so they make Marjo. And then the child pays for it for the rest of his life.
That's actually probably what happened. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm pretty smart sometimes.
You are.
baby.
You are. That's good. Marjo actually started his career as an ordained minister in the Pentecostal church at the age of 4.
Man, there is nothing creepier to me, and I am sorry, than child preachers.
Yes.
It creeps me the F out.
100% agree.
It's probably Children of the Corn, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, it's just like there's something creepy about, especially like the Pentecostal, like real fire and brimstone.
Yeah.
You see in a 4-year-old, you going to hell in a handbasket with your seeds on your fingers. Now give me my juice box, mama, because I'm going to send you to the fiery pits of hell. Hell is where you're going, mama. You're going to hell if you don't give me my juice box and my
This is what I don't understand is that it's your 4. How do you don't know what you're talking about?
He is an instrument of God, Adam. It's not
no.
about him. It's God using
You
him.
have no life experience. You can't talk
God
about
has
this.
life experience.
Oh, all right. By the time he was 16, his family had amassed what he later estimated to be about $3 million from their traveling preacher show.
Cha-ching. That's why you have a 4-year-old preacher.
Oh, yeah. He definitely made them money.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're a traveling preacher who goes around giving money to poor communities,
Sure.
then you're a man of God, and I respect you, and I think you're a good person. But if you're a preacher that goes around to poor communities and takes all their money,
Amasses $3 million.
You're a con man.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, so much a con man that shortly after Gortner's 16th birthday, his father absconded with all the money.
God told me to go. I gotta go. I can't argue with Jesus.
So, Marjo spent the remainder of his teenage years literally wandering around San Francisco as they called him an itinerant beatnik. He just gave up religion entirely.
Wouldn't you?
Of course.
I mean, good Lord. It's just like...
You spend 12 years making your family rich,
And then your father takes all the money
leaves?
and leaves. And you just wander around the beach barefoot, smoking dope with your giant golden afro and your weird nose and face. He looks like if Big Bird had an afro, that's Marjo.
It's really surprising that he didn't become like a cult leader. He easily could have.
I don't think he had the... I don't think he had the gumption, man. I don't think he had the drive to be a cult leader.
I don't think he wanted to, yeah.
I think he was forced to do this crap for his family. And then, I think, this is just me making shit up. But I think maybe he was kind of relieved, He's done with that stuff.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because he doesn't continue with it. So I think it was just kind of like...
Well, he does a little bit.
What I mean is he doesn't continue with
No.
He cashes in a little bit.
Yeah, which, more power to him. He was hard-pressed for money in his early 20s, so he decided to put his old skills to work and reemerged on the preaching circuit with a charismatic stage show modeled after those of contemporary rock stars like Mick Jagger or the Rolling Stones.
Hey, if he's putting on a show, he's putting on a show. There's no difference between that and a musical act or whatever, as long as you're taking it for what it is.
Yeah. He would make enough money in 6 months that he would take 6 months off during the year and continue his itinerant beatnik ways. He eventually, after doing that for a few years, he got tired of doing the double life and was like, you know what? I'm going to do one more tour and then I'm going to be done.
And I'm going to be a really bad actor.
And... but whatever. But he was going to be done with it. So in 1971, he decided he wanted to translate his performative skills into acting. So for his last tour, he let a documentary film crew follow him around.
I really want to see this, by the way.
It is available. There's one streaming service that has it. I don't remember the name of it.
All right.
It features a penguin. That's all I can remember.
On the serves?
The streamer, it's something I'd never heard of before, but it is available on it. But this documentary crew followed him around, and in 1971, for that year, the Academy Awards, it won Best Documentary Film. The film Marjo won.
Well, you would think it would be available someplace, though.
It is. I just don't remember.
I mean, more readily available than some mystery penguin service that nobody has ever heard of.
It was so funny because most of the stuff is pay on this service here. I can tell you what it is. Fandor. It's on Fandor. Yeah. See it's a weird little penguin.
It is.
I don't know, but
Never
it's
heard
Fandor.
of Fandor.
Literally, as far as I can tell, Marjo is the only thing that's free on Fandor. Yeah. Everything else
that's how they get you.
Pay for.
That's a little taste that they get you.
But it is free and it is available. So if you want to check out Marjo,
We do not. We neither support nor deny Fandor.
No.
Watch your butts.
I don't know.
Maybe it's a scam.
Yeah. Although it has been said that since Marjo came out, it is the best example of a critique of the preaching circuit and those kind of like Pentecostal like crazy preachers.
Very cool.
Because Marjo Gortner gave very honest interviews to the point where even like he talked about his father stealing money. His father had no idea he talked about this stuff.
Oh wow.
No one knew about it. Like he was very honest about it because he was getting out. He was just like, whatever.
Well, I think it boils down to the preachers that traffic in love, good guys. The preachers who traffic in fear, not so good guys.
Not so good guys. Exactly. So Marjo began his acting career with a featured role in the Marcus Nelson Murders, which was used as the 1973 pilot for the Kojak series.
Kojak, baby.
Yeah, baby.
And Telly Savalas licking that lolly.
He also played Sergeant Jody Jode in the disaster film Earthquake as a psychotic grocery manager turned National Guardsman. The main antagonist. It was his biggest part.
Oh, he was awesome in that as Jody Jode.
So crazy. And I didn't realize it was him until I read that he was in this. And then it was like, oh, the afro. Yes.
Well, he didn't have as big an afro.
It was, I know. But
they had tamped it a bit.
Yeah.
He didn't have his wild, crazy Starcrash fro.
Anyway. In Starcrash, Acton was supposed to be a grotesque alien, but Marjo refused to wear any heavy makeup.
Yeah, good for him, man. That would have been gross. Plus, all that stuff was toxic back then. Oh. There was nothing, there wasn't any... And you're in Italy, so there's probably not as many regulations.
Yeah.
Just to put it on your face, huh? Well, what's in it? Don't you worry about what's in it. Just to put it on your face. If it turns red and it burns, we take it off. In an hour or two,
After we get the shots.
When we get the shots.
Judd Hamilton played L, the powerful, emotional robot policeman.
I'm a robot policeman named L. Hey there, let's go down and get that emperor.
Hamilton, yeah, exactly. That literally sounds just like him.
I did the voice.
That was amazing. Hamilton had a co-starring role in the Richard Quine 1969 Western, A Talent for Loving, where he worked with Carolyn Monroe and got married in 1970.
So Adam, did he have a talent for loving as well?
According to Caroline Monroe, he did.
Oh, yes, he did. Oh, yeah. We'll be right back with the weather and the traffic on the ones.
You love it.
I adore it.
He was a musician, leading to him and Monroe, releasing numerous singles as Judd and Miss Monroe. They released like 4 or 5 singles that did pretty well. He actually pushed the California surf genre with his involvement in the T-Bones. Yeah, exactly. He was also part of the Avantis and the Ventures.
Yep. Ventures were like one of
those. Oh, they were huge. Yeah.
They're very tantamount with the surf sound of the 60s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were the surf sound. Yeah. Ironically, he donned the cowboy robot suit for Starcrash, but due to the fact that they couldn't fly him out to dub over his own lines, he didn't even provide the voice. Which I don't know who did the voice.
I did, Adam.
Oh, sorry,
I
it was
did
Jim.
The voice. Well, let's get down to that planet and see what's happening. Oh my goodness, I've been shot apart.
Oh boy!
Oh boy! Yeehaw!
I just find it really sad that he was in this movie and literally you don't see him, you don't hear him.
Adam, he got to hang out with his wife in Italy.
That's true. He did get his free trip.
All he had to do was put on that trash can suit for a few hours, awkwardly walk around like a mannequin that just now came to life, But he got to hang out with his wife.
Yeah, that's true. They got a free vacation out of it.
And I got paid $16.95 to do the voice.
Wow, yeah. You did a really good job considering you were what, like 8?
Yeah, I was pretty young.
9, maybe?
But I've had this voice. I went through puberty very young. I was a Pentecostal preacher back then.
Oh. So Judd and Caroline divorced in 1982. And here's the weird thing, and I thought this was fascinating. Judd Hamilton has spent the last 20 years developing and patenting X-Rock, a unique radiation shielding concrete coating material.
Yeah.
It's super weird, but apparently it's used everywhere now.
Yeah, he figured that out on Starcrash. Because he had to figure out how to make the spaceships not burn up when they were doing the spaceship shots.
Right.
And he was like, I think I got myself a little epoxy that'll help. I'm going to call it
X-Rock.
X-Rock.
It's he's just had a fascinating life. Like,
Seriously,
I find this man
100%.
fascinating.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you're in one of the greatest Star Wars ripoff cult films, and you're a scientist.
And he was a surf rock,
Rock
musician,
guy,
like
country music guy.
Yeah, it was
Miss
crazy.
Monroe and Jibbles, Miss
Judd
Monroe,
Miss Monroe,
Judd and Miss Monroe.
Prince Simon, the Emperor's son, was played by none other than David Hasselhoff.
Such a pretty man he was.
You got lost in his eyes.
Oh my God, he literally. I said this before, but he was literally an anime character. Like I think.
Yeah.
Most anime was based off of what David Hasselhoff looked like in the 70s. He just had those.
Yeah,
he just had such a pretty face.
The turning.
Yes. Oh.
Sparkle.
Yeah, I mean, he was the personification of Speed Racer.
Yes.
In that movie.
He was. He really was. Hasselhoff started his career portraying Dr. Snapper Foster on The Young and the Restless from 1975 to 1982.
Snapper Foster.
Dr. Snapper Foster.
Good guy. Man, Jody Jode, Snapper Foster. We don't have fun names like that anymore.
No,
the 70s were great.
He didn't actually choose to leave the show. They actually wrote out a ton of their original characters in 1982.
He was too pretty, baby. All the other actors were like, get this pretty boy away from me. I can't. No woman's looked at me ever since this golden god came strutting on set with his beautiful locks.
Nice. His stint on that soap opera made him a household name. He was very well known by everyone.
Oh yeah, everybody loves soaps.
Yeah,
and back then everybody started on soaps. Alec Baldwin.
Oh yeah,
you know
Kevin Costner.
Everybody was like that's how they.
It was like easy work. Yeah.
It's like what SVU has been the last 20 years.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
That was it's New York. Actors in New York. They want to do theater, but they got to make money, and so they'll I'm gonna debase myself by being on a soap opera, but it's not as bad as being in commercials.
Yeah, well, then they do commercials
job,
too. Yeah. His feature film debut was in 1974 as Boner in Revenge of the Cheerleaders, which he only did so he could get into the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah. In a long line of very great actors playing Boner, there was the Boner from
Charles in Charge.
No, from Growing Pains.
Oh, he was in Growing Pains.
Yes,
That's right.
Adam.
Sorry, I was thinking
Get
of the wrong.
your boners straight,
Sorry.
my friend.
It wasn't. What was? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
There was Buddy.
Buddy. It was Buddy and Charles in Charge. You're right.
Buddy and
Buddy.
Boner. And Boner and Buddy.
Okay. No, right. The funny thing is, at the time, he did it just to get in the Screen Actors Guild, but at the time he believed that the film would not be released, but it was because he got really popular. So 2 years later, it appeared under the title Caught with Their Pants Down.
Such an improvement.
Yeah.
And they probably featured him on, the poster was him, and it was probably some sort of like Dick DiBartolo Mad Magazine ripoff.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, even though he was still working on his soap opera, he wouldn't do another feature film after Starcrash until 1988.
He was very difficult. You can't be that pretty and not be difficult, Adam.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was the stink of Starcrash.
It was the stink of beauty and everybody being jealous.
Stink of beauty.
They were jelly gels, and they were like, I don't want to hire such a pretty man.
Well, he did also, after he got out of doing the soap opera, he did do Knight Rider for a long time. That started, 83 or 84?
I think so. Yeah, Knight Rider was huge,
it was
man.
Huge. It was big.
Make it sound like...
No. But I mean, I'm just saying, is that I'm sure he probably didn't have time to be doing movies because of the TV work he was doing.
Yes, and he was demonstrably a horrible actor, and he fit really well in Knight Rider because he was wearing, kit, my leather jacket, and everything was, I'm Michael Knight, and I'm going to put on this tuxedo. Yes, Michael, let's get you to the party. I need to get to the party. Michael, why are you making so many weird noises? That's how I act.
That's dead on.
Ooga shaka shaka, ooga shaka.
So in 1988, he starred in 3 movies. He just came out with a bang, doing movies again. 2 were German language comedies, and the other being an Italian horror movie.
Of course they were.
Yeah. Well, now, here's the thing. Before that, he was not big in Germany. It was after these movies, and then it was 1989 when he released his first album.
Oh, yeah.
But these German language comedies were huge in Germany.
Of course they were.
And he became a huge star.
I like all these Europeans who are all like little snooty doots and think they're all better than us, but they just glom onto the worst part of our... Das ist gut, ja. Oh, Hasselhoff is genius. Beatles, not so much. And the same thing with like the French with their love of Jerry Lewis, the Holocaust clown from hell.
It would have been number one.
Hey, lady, gotta go get in there, gonna entertain you. Ooba-dooba-doo.
Yeah. Christopher Plummer played the Emperor. The Emperor of the Universe, I guess, was his full title.
Yes, please, Adam.
Sorry.
He earned that.
He fully admitted that he only did the movie because he wanted a free trip to Rome. He said,
"Give me Rome any day. I'll do porno in Rome as long as I can get to Rome. Getting to Rome was the greatest thing that happened, that for me. I think it was only about 3 days in Rome on that one. It was all shot at once."
He was also very excited to play the Emperor of the Universe.
How can you play the Emperor of the Universe? What a wonderful part to play. It puts God in a very dicey moment, doesn't it? He's very insecure, God, when the Emperor is around.
Which, you know...
Somebody was doing a little dinky-dink.
Yeah.
I love Christopher Plummer, by the way. I love him.
Phenomenal.
But he also, I mean, that's like, that's like Michael Caine. They were all about like, well, where's it shoot? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't give a crap. I'll do Jaws, The Revenge.
Yeah.
I need a Caribbean vacation, baby. It's just like, I love these guys. They're such great actors, but have such poopers because they were just like, whatever. Dude.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm going to Rome, man.
Not just going to Rome, but being paid $10,000 a day to be in Rome.
Yes, and this is $70s, $10,000 a day.
Yeah.
So it's like $60,000.
Well, I think he had won Oscars by this point.
Oh, of course.
At least nominated.
Yeah, I mean, he had done The Sound of Music. He had done, man, this guy.
He was a big get for them.
He was huge, But this was the time, the 70s, when things were changing, and this was around the late 60s, early 70s, and this was all around the world. This is the European New Wave was happening, and in America we were having the independent revolution, with Dennis Hopper and all these guys, all these crazy movies.
Right.
So all these stars got kind of thrown to the side. And then, they were doing Love Boat, and they were making these disaster movies because nobody knew what to do with them.
Right.
Because the people that loved them weren't spending the money. So these poor great American treasures or, European treasures were thrown to the wayside and just put in crap.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Damn you, Hollywood.
Yeah. It's chew you up and spit you out.
And the cinematic universe of the world.
Yes. Joe Spinell was Count Zarf Arn, a megalomaniac renegade. Until Starcrash, he had mostly played supporting roles in big films like The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2.
You totally recognize him in those.
Yeah. Rocky, he was in, and technically, I want to say he was actually in Rocky 2 after Starcrash came out. He also did Taxi Driver and Sorcerer. He was very close with Sylvester Stallone and was even Sage Stallone's godfather until a falling out between Sly and Joe in 1981.
Yeah, it was over
a movie.
It was over supplements. He took the last of the creatine
when they were shooting Nighthawks.
Yeah, and it was need the last of the creatine. I'm the star of the movie. All right. Okay, I need the creatine. Okay, it's my muscles on there, not yours. Godfather 1 and 2.
Spinell was poised to reprise his role in The Godfather Part 3, but shortly before filming slipped in the shower, cut the back of his head on a shower door, and rather than going out for help, he laid down, fell asleep, and his hemophilia led to him bleeding out and dying.
Man, that's like, I mean, it's not the same thing, but it's almost like, he didn't bleed out, but it's almost like Bob Saget.
Yeah.
Get those head wounds checked out, people.
Well, the other thing, too, is that it was because it was on the back of his head, I don't think he realized how bad it was. But he was born with hemophilia, so it's something he knew he had the problem with. Well, sure,
but if you feel, he had to feel blood.
He was also very well known for being an alcoholic and a druggie. So, like,
that thins your blood as well. Not too smart. But, his look in that movie is spectacular.
Yes.
They basically made Darth Vader's helmet out of his hair.
Yeah.
He's got this like amazing,
That's true. That is
he's
true.
just this, wow, he's just so disturbing looking, I think is the only, and he's just so.
He went through voice coaching to change his voice, so
Yes,
he didn't
because
keep
he
his
sound like this.
because he had a very thick Brooklyn accent,
Oh.
and so he yeah.
Hey, look, Starcrash.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You bunch of space pirates, Googie. I'm going to come out there, and I'm going to get you with my space guns. Pew, 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 boo.
I just love the fact that his hair was so messed up that Phoebe was like, "Is he supposed to be the princess character? Because his hair looks like he's wearing the buns on the side of his head."
Yeah, it was nuts. It is nuts. He was, he went for it, baby.
Oh, he did.
He chewed
He
that
did.
scenery, spit it
yeah.
out, and chewed it up again.
It was one of his first lead roles, you know? I mean, like, you take that opportunity, you run with it.
Well, I don't know if the director was possibly, and I could be wrong, giving the best direction to these actors.
I'm going to say probably not.
Oh, man, that must have been quite a weird set with Marjo, your ex-preacher. You got your great Caroline Monroe's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
really chill. You know, her and her husband, just hanging out, writing country music. What do you say, Miss Monroe? Let's write another country song while we're waiting to do our jib jabs. But then you got, like, weirdo Hasselhoff. He probably learned how to drink from Plummer. You know?
Yeah.
And,
Sure.
and Spinelli and Plummer probably turned that poor, beautiful little boy into the alcoholic he is today. Well, I don't know today, but he was when he was eating burgers on the floor.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Mess.
Yeah. So Robert Tessier played Thor, chief of the Imperial State Police.
I love Robert Tessier.
Robert Tessier starred as the menacing convict Connie Schockner in the 1974 comedy drama The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds, whum he counted as one of his best friends, also appearing with him in Hooper in 1978.
Oh yeah, he would show up in all of his stuff. One thing about Burt Reynolds was one of those guys, one of the first guys that he was like Adam Sandler. He would make the movies with his pals.
Yeah.
And this guy was in a lot of his movies. And Tessier, he was in a lot of stuff as bad guys and monsters.
Yeah,
and
he did.
He would, you know, he had his niche.
Yeah, he played a lot of bad guys, yeah.
But he had a little bit. The great thing about The Longest Yard is it gave him some depth.
Right.
And
right.
it was because he was like the guy they were all afraid of. That was just like the badass. But it was just really. If you haven't seen that movie,
It's a great movie.
it's an awesome movie. It's just such a movie of its time too. We're definitely going to do a show on that.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
But
for
yeah, Tessier is an unsung hero. He's just one of those really great journeyman character actors that was just good at playing a heavy.
Yeah, and from everything I've read, it seemed like he was a really nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because during his spare time, he was an accomplished cabinet maker and would give them to his co-stars.
Oh, sure. All the guys, the scariest looking dudes are always the biggest teddy bears.
Yeah.
You know, all the guys that play, because you get it all out. You get get all your rage and everything out because that's the parts you get to play. It must be really cathartic to just be like, I'm going to kill all of you all the time. Then you could just go home and play with your kittens.
Yeah. Nadia Cassini played Corellia, Queen of the Amazon women. Nadia started her career as a stripper, traveling around the world before settling down in Italy. She did a few movie roles before starring in Starcrash. She gained her greatest success after becoming a star in the commedia sexy all'italiana genre, which I'd never heard of.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look it up on Wikipedia, make sure it's not at work because the first picture is a topless woman playing a cello.
I got to know this genre very well as a young man with cable. Like they would play on Showtime or whatever. They would play these weird nudie foreign movies late at night, and it would be disturbing because it's like it just seemed sweaty and weird.
Yeah,
but there were naked people, so it was exciting. But I just that genre scarred me a little bit.
It didn't last very long, and it was mostly just a few directors that did it. but it was definitely there, and it was big. I mean, it definitely made stars out of some people.
There was a sexy badabadoo for every genre. Like at that time, they were making the Canterbury Tales, but very sexy. You know. And so it'd be all these European nudie movies where they would take, material that was public domain because it was around for thousands of years, and then turn it into some sort of booby movie.
Yeah. At some point in the 80s, Nadia Cassini had her face partially disfigured and her right ear lost in a botched plastic surgery procedure.
Good Lord, it's like the Joker.
Yeah. That just seems really odd.
A little bit of a curse on this movie.
Yeah.
You got a couple of, you got a guy bleeding down the back of his head, and her losing her face.
It's,
The Starcrash curse.
So principal photography began on October 15th, 1977 at the Cinecittà Studios in Rome. Shooting also took place in Morocco, Tunisia, and Hollywood. The film was scheduled to be completed by mid-December 1977 with a budget of $4 million, but due to a slew of financial problems, the film actually took 6 months to complete. David Hasselhoff managed to get food poisoning during the shoot.
Of course he did.
Production assistant...
Guys, I'm feeling a little... I'm feeling a little weird in the gastric area.
A production assistant, actually, in a mask, filled in for a significant number of his scenes.
It was a very pretty mask.
Which I will say, when we watched it, I didn't realize. I knew this, and I still didn't realize it was somebody in a mask.
Yeah, because there's so many other really glaringly bad things on the screen to see that'll distract you.
Hasselhoff did do most of his own stunts. On his first day of stunt work, he accidentally knocked out an Italian stuntman's tooth.
Of course he did. He's a dummy. He's a pretty dummy, man. He's a beautiful baby dummy.
At one point, Caroline Munro almost wet herself during production. She said,
"In one scene, I needed the bathroom so bad that I thought it's a good job I'm wearing plastic suit over my bikini, if you know what I mean."
It was a really good read. Speaking of her costume, there is very little continuity with her bikini costume, as was pointed out by Phoebe during the movie.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of variations.
Yeah. Technically, there's a logical explanation for this.
Okay, let's hear it.
Is that her costume is from the future and that it changed depending on what she was doing.
Cool, I want one of those.
Yeah. She was supposed to wear a bikini through the whole film, but American International Pictures, who was supposed to purchase the film for the American market, told them it would be difficult to sell it to the TV markets if she were only in a bikini throughout the entire movie. So for the last
back then.
third, I know, it seems very odd. During the last third, they put her in a much more covering costume.
Well, it's just, no, they just put some tight clothes underneath her bikini.
Yeah, he did.
Like a bodysuit.
Yeah.
And then they put the bikini over the bodysuit.
Oh, you want her to be in a thing, so here it is, hey. Yeah.
Nice. That. Right there, I felt like I was in Rome.
It was really offensive. Okay.
Hey, look what you got.
They apparently didn't have a fight coordinator, as the martial arts fight between Marjoe Gortner and Robert Tessier was improvised on the spot.
Sure doesn't look like it.
Nope. At one point, there was a communist worker revolt, which led to the film's master copy being held for ransom by Italian activists.
Good God, I want to make a movie about making this movie.
Yes,
I do.
I gotta be honest. I'm surprised it hasn't been done.
It will be.
We're writing the script.
All right, as long as Judd Apatow doesn't get to it first.
So only Marjoe Gortner, David Hasselhoff, Christopher Plummer, and Joe Spinell actually have their own voices in the English dub version. Everyone else was dubbed by different people, and if you've seen the movie, it's really, really obvious.
Now, here's what I don't understand. Is there like a dubbing school where people are taught, do talk like this all the time, or to do, okay.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
Emperor.
I think it's an unwritten, kind of a dubbing school. One person was doing it. It's like, well, this is how you get jobs.
Everybody has to talk like this.
It's just so non-emotive.
It's awful.
It's just
awful.
not
good.
just,
there's a group of dubbers that were just like, I am going to talk like this, and everything is going to be like this. And then they couldn't really match it. It was. It's a little jarring. I mean, the whole thing is jarring because you can tell.
But the ADR is just really bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't match. And granted, I know I worked in the industry, and I have an eye for more of this stuff, but it's just not good.
No, it doesn't matter if you have if you have eyes, Adam, you can see it. Here's the deal. This is the maddening thing that goes from the cheapest production to the medium-sized productions.
Yeah.
They don't worry about sound. They take sound for granted.
Yes.
Sound is an art form. It is so hard to do sound well.
Yeah.
But they think anybody could do sound, so they skimp on sound. And then when everything comes out crappy, there's, fix it in post. ADR
sound
is always ADR.
So much harder to do in post.
You can get away with like a couple of scenes in a car or whatever, because you only see the back of the head or what. But you can't dub an entire movie, man.
No, unless you are Robert Rodriguez, which he did for El Mariachi, but he did it really well.
He did, but it's still.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
saw
still
it.
Obvious.
It's still obvious. It was good. I mean, he must have gotten a different ADR group than the ones that talk like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it was mostly also just the two leads.
Yes.
And I mean, yeah. The post-production budget was very tight, so flying Caroline Munro and Judd Hamilton out to do their own voices was too expensive. I believe they were living in England at the time, and they were doing all this stuff in L.A. So Caroline Munro's voice was dubbed by Candy Clark, who was married to Marjo Gortner at the time.
And she does such a great job because Candy Clark was also in American Graffiti.
Yeah. She was nominated for an Oscar for that. Yep.
But she's got a very, voice. But But in this, she's very,
Yeah, I assumed it was Caroline Munro, and it was just
because it was a very forceful, good voice. She did a good job.
Yeah,
really good
yeah.
job.
I think of everybody, she did a good job. It's just
because you know what she did? She focused on those eyebrows, baby, and that's where she found it. I found the voice in the eyes and the eyebrows. I found the anger and the intensity, the Munro intensity.
Ennio Morricone was first offered the opportunity to compose the film score, which he turned down.
No, it would have been.
Yeah. The producers were incredibly hesitant to show the film to John Barry, who had agreed to score the film, thinking he would quit when he saw how bad the film was. John Barry had famously scored all the Bond movies up to that point and had won 3 Oscars.
Yeah, I'd be pretty scared to show him too. I mean, and that's just so funny. That's like they knew what a POS they had.
Yeah.
So they're just like, should we show it to him?
But he did it, and the score's good. I mean, it's
because he got paid.
Score. Yeah,
of course he did it.
It fits the movie, and it's weird, and American International Pictures was interested in releasing Starcrash. It was a perfect fit as their publicity department devised a strategy called, quote-unquote, the Peter Pan syndrome.
It's actually pretty brilliant.
Yes. So this is how the Peter Pan syndrome publicity marketing works.
Pay attention, kids. This is how you're going to market your podcasts from now on.
A younger child will watch anything an older child will watch.
What you watching?
Doesn't matter. Anything. B, an older child will not watch anything a younger child will watch.
What you watching? Stupid.
A girl will watch anything a boy will watch.
I'll watch anything you're watching.
A boy will not watch anything a girl will watch.
Yeah, what you watching? Stupid.
Therefore, to catch your greatest audience, you zero in on the 19-year-old male.
Okay. No. Nope.
That's exactly what they did.
Well, maybe back then it kind of worked.
Yeah.
Because teenagers are dumb and little kids want to follow their brother.
Yeah.
Look, my sister wasn't a brother, but I totally wanted to listen to the music she listened to. I wanted to watch the movie she watched because she was older and she had really good taste.
Yeah.
So, I would sneak in and, but she didn't give a crap about what I was doing. I mean, hey, will you come watch this thing with me? And she's like, get away from me.
Yeah, totally.
Call me when the mac and cheese is ready, little bro.
Upon seeing the final cut of Starcrash, they declined to release the film because it was bad.
We're going to have to pass on this one. I'm sorry.
Luigi. Here's the thing. Also, there's controversy around this because also at this time, American International Pictures was actually bought by Filmways, which is another company, and I think it was Filmways that actually was like, yeah, no, we're not releasing this.
Luigi Cazzi, it's a great film. What are you doing in my career?
It was picked up by New World Pictures, a Roger Corman company, to see if a low-budget space opera could make money. This led him to producing Battle Beyond the Stars, which we'll be talking about.
Battle Beyond the Stars.
Next episode.
Well, you know what was crazy? Was this whole thing put the Luigi Cazzi in such a depression, man. And he decided he was not going to make any more films. And he had a brother. And his brother had a business. It was pretty successful. And so he went and got into the plumbing business with his brother Mario. And they did pretty well. I mean, they branched out to ghost hunting.
They went down a pipe and were never seen again.
Yeah. It's a me, Mario.
I like that you give me crap at the beginning of the episode about my awful joke. Great.
Well, that's my job is to make the awful jokes. You give us respectability.
Hey, I get one every 10 or so episodes. All right.
I mean, I'm just looking to you to keep us out of the gutter, baby.
The film managed to garner a whopping $478,000 in total box office from a $4 million budget.
That's not good.
No. Despite being critically panned and a box office failure, at the 7th Saturn Awards, it was nominated for the Best International Film.
Okay. People love this movie, Adam. People love this movie.
Yeah. In 2015, it was included in Rolling Stone's Best Sci-Fi Movies of the 70s.
Yeah, well, that guy was just Googling sci-fi movies of the 70s and putting them on a list. He did not watch them, or she. I don't want to be sexist, but that person probably did not do their work.
Look, I get it. I get that people love this movie. I get that people are religious. I still don't understand it.
Okay,
I don't understand it.
But, I mean, as a kid, there was spectacle, there was robots, there was laser swords.
Yes.
That's the thing that I love, too. It wasn't that the cool...
No.
It was...
Yeah.
And then it would go down and go... I'm going to get your laser sword. And then, yeah, it was just, as a kid, it had the ingredients, man. It had the Harryhausen's, it had the light swords, it had the bikini baby, it had, the cowboy robot cop.
It was close enough and had the elements of Star Wars that people were going to see it.
But I'll tell you this. Watching it the other night, I could not give you a synopsis of the plot.
No
when you
idea.
mentioned the princess lady that was in the Comedia de Sexy de Buru.
Yeah, the Amazon.
I don't remember that character.
She shot the laser beams through the TV screen, which caused the ship to crash or something.
Yeah, see? She caused the star crash.
I don't know.
Yeah,
None of it makes sense.
Look, people...
They get arrested and then they get released because they need to be spies or something.
If you saw this movie as a kid, you know what we're talking about. It's a fun, silly, crazy movie. If you've never seen it before and you're curious, get yourself some edibles. Throw some Eddies on there.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe put a couple of mimosas or
don't watch it sober. Crack open some beers.
A margarita or two.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat and gets you in that
whiskey.
mellow, groovy doovy. Yeah. Get in it.
Yeah.
And watch it. And you'll have fun making fun of it. It's a great... there's a reason why it was on Mystery Science 3000.
Yeah.
It's a fun... We couldn't help but do it. It's a really fun movie just to crack jokes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you're gonna make comments throughout it. It's that kind of movie. It's a get a little funky with your friends and make fun of it. And it'll be a fun time.
So Kotze was about to do a sequel to the film called Star Riders with a $12 million budget starring Klaus Kinski, Nancy Kwan, and Jack Rabin.
Nice.
But it never went into production. Kotze began expressing his frustration with the Italian film industry, stating in an interview with Cinefantastique.
What can I do? In Italia, when you bring a script to a producer, the first question he asks is not what is your film like, but what film is your film like? And that's the way it is in Italia. We can only make a zombie 2 and never a zombie 1.
That pretty much sums up the Italian film market.
It pretty much sums up a lot of the foreign film market. A lot of the American film market as well.
He actually we're out of time, but the last thing he did, he actually has done documentaries now. He actually has kind of become like a film archivist for Italian films.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's up there now. He's like 80, 85 or something.
Yeah.
And he's still kind of doing documentary films and doing stuff.
Hey, look, he made a cult hit. We're still talking about it 40-something years later.
48 years, 44 years later.
And you look at IMDb, there's a lot of really positive reviews.
There are people that love this movie.
Yeah.
Love this movie.
People love a lot of things. But
I'm sure if I had saw it when I was like 7 or 8, I probably would love it too.
No. I like it. I haven't seen it in probably 30 years. Yeah. I don't still love it, but I appreciate it for what it was, and I loved it at the time. But there are some things that it's okay to let go of from your childhood and admit that maybe it wasn't the best thing in the world. We don't have to hold on to every little morsel and make it precious like the ring of the golem. My precious. Yeah. My precious Starcrash.
For me, that would be Transformers, the movie. Or...
the cartoon?
Yeah, the cartoon.
Okay, good.
Or Highlander.
Oh, you hate those both?
I hate both of those movies so much. Yeah.
Right. Well, I can't wait to cover
I
those.
loved Transformers the movie when I was young, and I
Sure.
watched it again in college, and I was like, this is the most boring movie I've
Oh,
ever
it's awful.
seen.
Yeah.
It's bad. And Highlander, I didn't see until a few years ago, and I don't understand why people like that movie.
I need to see it again, but I've always loved Highlander. I just love the thought of him being a Spaniard.
Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious.
I'm from Spain,
but it's not a good movie.
by way of Scotland. I refuse to do an accent.
All right, well, we'll be back the next episode with another Farce movie, Battle Beyond the Stars.
Battle Beyond the Stars, where we get into the Corpsman.
Get in the corner
Oh,
stuff. I'm
baby.
super excited to get into this one.
Thanks for listening. He's basically, they basically made. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. That's My Mama, already in progress.